everyone. Welcome to yet another session of Vogue Symposium. And we have with us an eminent speaker for today, Mr. Karthik. I'm really sorry, I always mess up with your name. Sorry, Karthik.
No problem.
So we have Mr. Karthikeyan Chandran with us today. I'll just give you a brief about him. He's a BTech in textile chemistry and started his career in 2002 at Intertech India Private Limited. He was heading the laboratory operations for about 8.5 years before he decided to move to Decathlon. And he played various roles in Decathlon, starting from fabric technologist, production team leader, country leader for continuous improvement, and currently managing a business unit of Woven of 100 million plus US dollars. So that's huge. Welcome, Karthikeyan, to our session today.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you so much to Dr. Vijay Kumar, who has initiated this and who has approached me a few weeks ago to organize this workshop. And thank you all the participants for taking your time and joining this session. There's one part Shweta missed out in the introduction is I practice cycling, walking, and also I play cricket. So that is
wow.
part of the sports is a part of my life. So thanks Shweta for the introduction. I will quickly get into the main topic. The main topic of the day is OPEX. Is it still a choice for Indian textile industry? When Dr. Vijay approached me 2 weeks ago to choose a topic, I was just wondering, so what is the most relevant topic considering the current situation of pandemic? So there are two topics came into my mind. One is OPEX and the other one is sustainability. So I thought, okay, sustainability is a very vast topic. Okay, let's, yes, it's also a very important topic. So I decided to go ahead with OPEX. When I say OPEX, if some finance people are present, don't misunderstand. It is no financial term like CAPEX or OPEX. It is called operational excellence. Mainly applied for all the production and also all the service industries. So I decided this topic, the main reason because during the pandemic, many companies are undergoing a lot of pain points, and there are many companies are shutting down, and which is really a painful news of their industry. Not only textile industry, many other industries are facing the same issue. So, and there are some people are able to survive, and they are coming up with different thought process, different ideas. They are able to come up strongly in this kind of pandemic situation. So what is the big difference making between these companies? It's, of course, it's not only the financial stability of the company, which helps them to manage this this pandemic. As I said, the financial stability is a consequence of your operational excellence. So whether it is a big company or a small company, if you can sustain, you need to be operationally excellent. So just quickly take you to the agenda of the session. What I'm going to talk about today, I will just give you an overview about what is operational excellence, why it is important, and overview of Indian textile industry, and also we'll talk about current challenges faced by the industry and how OPEX could be a solution. These are the various topics that. Okay, so what is OPEX? So before I come back to the definition, I would like to explain you a short story. It's a true story. In fact, it happened 2 years ago. In fact, a man in Delhi had to fly to Nagpur and for a business reason. And in fact, he had to take an early morning flight. And he goes to the airport. And as usual, in the morning, you see there is a lot of there is a huge line, and he has to go through that. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. So, sorry, I'm in the office, so some disturbance. It's okay. So, I was talking about this man. So, he heads towards the airport in the early morning to catch a flight to Nagpur. And you must have, most of you would have already experienced the airports in India. So there are lots of checkpoints. Yes, he first gets into the long queue to get into the security gate, and he has to enter into the airport. And then he moves to the counter, and again there is a long queue. He waits for some time, and then show the boarding pass and put the luggage under the boarding. And then he moves to the security check. And you know, early morning, the security check, you can imagine the situation. There is, of course, there is a long queue. And he has no other choice. He has to wait for his number. Then that's the third checkpoint. And then once he crosses the third checkpoint, he moves into the fourth checkpoint that is at the boarding gate. So the boarding gate, the airlines verify the boarding pass and allow him to enter into the the aircraft. But before entering the airport, there is another 2 more checkpoints. So there is one security guard stands in front of the gate and then check the boarding pass. And then once he has to enter into the aircraft at the gate, there is another checkpoint. So finally, after spending 1 hour in the airport, he enters into the aircraft and he's a bit relaxed. And then aircraft took off and then he landed safely. And then he comes out of the aircraft and then realized that unfortunately, that's not a Nagpur airport, that is an indoor airport. So he was quite shocked to see this situation because he boarded into the wrong aircraft. So look at this, the entire situation. You can see how operationally excellent, which this complete process is very, very, very far away from operational excellent. He has to spend a lot of time. He has to spend money. After that, he has to come back to his own destination. And of course, he's completely frustrated. He's not happy with the entire process he has to undergo. So just to quickly explain about what is operational excellence, to be make it very simple, the 3 terms, to be better, to be faster, and to be cheaper. So this is called operational excellence. Just to go a little more deeper, what is better? Better in terms of product, better in terms of service quality, better processes and better user experience, and better value. The example what I've given in the past, if you have seen, of course, the experience of the customer was very bad, and the processes he has to undergo was not good, and the value what he got is nothing. So just to conclude on this topic of better in terms of quality dimension, respect to the expectation from the customer. If the customer's expectation is safety, so it's important the organization's better safety for the product, better comfort for the product. It all depends on the expectation from the customer. And faster. What is faster? So we know it very clearly. It is self-explanatory. Faster in terms of service, faster in terms of response, faster in terms of processing, faster in terms of delivery. I can take an example of Domino's Pizza. So they give a commitment, okay, within 30 minutes, this product will be delivered, or otherwise it will be. They ensure that the product is delivered on time. So the customer's expectation also, they expect faster delivery. You go to a bank and ask for a loan, and you expect a quick response in terms of processing your loan. So faster in terms of lead time dimension. So always the customer expects shortest lead time in what they want. Cheaper, though I don't like the word called cheaper, because sometimes cheaper can misguide people, because cheaper, it's not cheaper quality, it's basically a competitive price or a value for money. So easy to operate or cheaper to operate. So suppose if you have to manufacture any product, maybe the customer don't need a 5-star facility to manufacture that product. They need a very simple factory and easy and cost-effective manufacturing facility. So cheaper to operate and cheaper to process and cheaper to purchase for the end customer. So overall, this matrix dimension is all talks about the price dimension. So we talked about better, we talked about faster, we talked about cheaper. So if any organization is able to fulfill these needs of the customer, we would call them as an operationally excellent. That operational excellence It's a never-ending story. There is no end line for this. It's a continuous improvement process. And what are the key elements to achieve operational excellence for many of the industries or an organization? Yes, one is effective and efficient processes to deliver value. Each and every organization should have an effective and efficient processes, internal processes. People in the organization should know what exactly needs to be done and when it needs to be done and what action to be taken. So this consists of entire system or the process of any organization. And yes, it should be supported by tools and techniques for design, improvement, and control. When we talk about tools and techniques for design, there are many tools that are available in industry. So Six Sigma is one of the tools used for designing a specific process or a system. And for an improvement, you have a continuous improvement tool. You have lean management system, which supports to continuously improve your processes. And control methodology also comes from different techniques like value stream mapping. And there are many more tools available to keep your system under control. The third most important thing is the mindset and behaviors where everyone want to, and they are enabled to be operationally excellent in an organization. So it's not a one-person job to become an operational excellent in any organization. It's basically the entire involvement of the entire organization is the key of success to be operationally excellent. And fourth most important point is a top-down approach. The strategies and priorities and policies and decisions defined by the top management. It should be towards achieving the operational excellence. If there is no alignment in terms of the strategies or the priorities, and if the policies are not aligned, for sure the organization will face a tough challenge in terms of implementing this operational excellence. The most important point here is the involvement of people. As I said, operational excellence can be achieved by not only the team who are dedicated for operational excellence in an organization, but it is the role of each and every individual in the organization. Everyone in the organization should be involved. Everyone should be engaged in the project, in the strategies or the policies. Everyone should be enabled to act on any specific problems or any specific strategies defined by the companies. And everybody should be empowered to take the decision. Most of the time in a typical organization, always the decision comes from the top. It's a top-down approach. In operational excellence, it doesn't work. So we talk about local decision making. It is important that the people who are on the field, who are closer to where the value addition is created. So only those people should be able to take a right decision. So the empowerment is the key of success of operational excellence in any organization. So if you see most of the organization, so-called, they call it as a head office. Okay, all the key people sit in the head office. So that is where most of the time the decisions are being taken. Whereas the factories or the service center is located, it's quite far away from the head office. So it doesn't make sense with this kind of a culture where the value addition happens at one place and the decision is taken at a different place. I'm sure it won't be possible for anyone to take a right decision at this point of time. So always the empowerment is a key for driving the operational excellence in any organization. Right. So that is all about operational excellence. Operational excellence is a very wide topic. There are a lot of tools, a lot of techniques are involved. So it's an ongoing learning process. As I said, the learning that doesn't stop in terms of operational excellence. So I've just given you a very brief and overview of operational excellence. After that, if you're interested in this topic, you can learn quite a lot out of this operational excellence. As I said, operational excellence is not only applicable for textile industry, it is applicable for the entire organization, entire country, and even at home you can implement operational excellence. Why OPEX? Yeah, to be make it very simple, no OPEX, you will always have instability in your performance. Always your graph will go ups and downs. It won't be like a straight line in your performance. So sometimes you perform, maybe you may be satisfied, but you are not sure you will be able to deliver the same performance next year, because the context changes. You would have seen already last 3 months what kind of pain we are undergoing. So how we can sustain those kind of a pain. So no operational excellence, you can be assured your performance will not be stable. So in order to reach a stable performance, for sure you need to have operational excellence. So no OPEX and stable performance. So the consequence of unstable performance end up delivering a poor quality of product or poor quality of service, and you won't be able to expect the customer's lead time, and you won't be able to make the product at a competitive price. You will not be in the race of a global platform. You will not be able to offer a competitive price to attract your customer. So as a result, yes, loss of trust, loss of business, and loss of customers. So it's very simple. So no OPEX, no business, no customer, no life. Right. So that's the overview of OPEX, why it is important. Now let's go a little deeper about Indian textile industry. I'm not going to talk something different. I'm sure most of you would have already researched this topic. So I'll just give you an overview of Indian textile industry. So, India, textile in India is the second largest industry in terms of giving employment to the workers. So there are almost 45 million people are employed by textile industry in India, followed by agriculture. So, and it also represents 2.3% of our country GDP. And in terms of total export from India, textile represents, textile and garment represent almost 15%, which is quite huge. And India is also a largest producer of cotton, jute, and we are second largest producer of polyester, silk, and fiber, and the fifth largest exporter of ready-made garments. So this is just an overview of textile industry. Let's focus a little more deeper on what is domestic textile and apparel industry, and also how much we contribute for. If you look at India domestic industry, textile and apparel industry, you can see the graph is quite promising. We are growing really fast in terms of domestic industry, because we have a large number of people and a huge consumer base next to China. So if you see from 2005 to 2018, the graph looks quite promising. And future, of course, we will double our size. We will move from 100 billion US dollar. Currently, it is close to 100 billion US dollar, and we will move to 220 billion dollar in next 5 to 6 years. So it's quite promising if you look at the domestic business. Let's focus, but again, if you see the category, apparel represent the highest, almost 75%, and followed by home textiles and technical textiles. How about export? Export, if you look at the figure from 2005 to 2010, our progress was very good. And even till 2015, progress was quite decent. But after that, if you see the curve already started getting flat, it's moving from 37 billion US dollar to 39 billion US dollar. It is projected to be $70 billion, almost double in 6 years. But based on my experience, I'm not sure we have the right infrastructure or compared to the global competition, we are still develop many things to reach 70. So it's a very, I would say, optimistic number what you see in the figure. If we don't change our way of working, what we do today, I'm not sure the $70 billion for export would be possible. And I can also say that India has a huge potential to go beyond $70 billion. So this is just an update about Indian textile and apparel export in terms of export. Why our graph in terms of export started flattened since few years. Of course, the main reason is linked to the competitiveness of our product. Are we competent enough in terms of our offer in a global platform? So just to give you an idea about cost comparison between different production countries. So in terms of labor cost, power cost, and lending rate, water cost. So if you look at India in terms of labor cost, approximately 160 to 180 US dollar per month. Look at China, they're almost 3 times higher in terms of labor cost, whereas Bangladesh is at the lower level. They're about 100 and 110. But keep in mind that the cost of labor in Bangladesh also started going up. Whereas Vietnam is a little almost same or slightly higher than India. It's about 170 to 190 dollar per month. Whereas Cambodia, it's about 180 to 190. If you look at power cost, India and Bangladesh is almost at the same level, whereas China is the highest side, whereas Vietnam is at the quite lower end, whereas Cambodia also is on the higher side. Lending rate, India, when you have to borrow money from the banks, you end up paying 11 to 12% per annum. Whereas China, the lending rate is quite lower side, whereas Bangladesh and India is almost at the same level. Whereas Vietnam, the lending rate is at the quite lower level. Water cost, yes, India has got good resources of water, so the water cost is quite cheaper in India compared to other countries. So this is just a global comparison in terms of cost of manufacturing of different parameters involved in manufacturing process. So you can see China, it's the cost of labor, cost of power, water cost is all at the higher side. But you'll be surprised to see the global ratio in the next slide. So what is the global apparel export share if you have to take top 5 countries? So here is the situation. So you have seen in the previous slide the cost of manufacturing in China is going up year on year, but still they represent almost 30% in terms of global textiles and garment export. And if you see, look at Bangladesh, they moved from 5.9 to 6.4%. And Vietnam, you can see the figures are really amazing. They were at 4.8% in terms of global export in 2015, but they moved to 6.2% in 2018. Look at India in terms of export share. We were at 4.1%. We are at 3.3. So we are in terms of global share, our export share is continue to decrease. Why? You have the reason already in the same slide. The share is being taken by Bangladesh and Vietnam already. So it's quite clear. So why there's such a big decline in terms of our export share? We will see in the following slides. Why India is losing its competitive advantage in global market? So I've tried to identify a couple of reasons. I'm sure many of the industrialists who are already taking part, they must be aware of it. Of course, one important reason is also linked to the policies and customs advantage. Yes, there are different government has got different policies, export policies and import policies also affects. So what is the difference? Just I will give you an overview of focusing on a few countries, different custom zones, for example, Europe, China, India, Russia, Africa. If I have to see all these custom zones and Brazil. So suppose India and different countries, if Europe has to import a product from these other countries, what are the duties that they need to pay? For example, Europe has to import a textile product from Vietnam or Madagascar or Pakistan, Morocco. So these are the list of countries. They don't have to pay a duty. It's zero duty today. Vietnam, I will explain in the next slide. Today, yes, in Vietnam, if they have to export to Europe, they have to pay duty, but they've already signed a free trade agreement with Europe, and in going forward, they don't have to pay duty for certain products. So I will explain a little more detail in the next slide. Coming to India, if you look at this part of the slide, if India has to export fabric or a garment, we will end up paying 9.6 percentage. The Europe end up paying 9.6 percentage if they have to import the product, textile product from India, which means a 100 rupee product, if it is exported by Vietnam, the landed price in Europe remains at 100 rupees. If India export the same 100 rupee product, the landed price at Europe, it's 109.6 rupees. So you can see a difference clearly here, why we are losing our competitiveness. But another pain point, if India imports the fabric from China and exports the garment to Europe, even the duties at the higher side, it goes up to 12%. So straight away we lose the competitiveness for about close to 9.6% to 12% if we have to compare with Vietnam and Bangladesh. So this is the situation today. I said Vietnam. Yes, Vietnam has already signed a free trade agreement with Europe. But this duty will be eliminated in a staggered phase. So year on year, they will continue to decrease. But by 2026, for all the product category, the duty to Europe will become 0%. So it is a staggered manner. It is already started in 2019. For some product, it's already 0. Some product, it started from 9%, will move to 6%, 3%. So slowly they will eliminate the import duty to Europe. So of course the competition will continue to increase. Even in the past, you have seen the graph. In the past, you have seen the graph of Vietnam from 2015 to 2018. The graph is quite sharply increasing in terms of their global share. But after this announcement, yes, Indian textile industry, garment export industry is going to face a tough challenge. So this is one of the main reasons why our products to Europe and even US are not competitive. We are straight away losing 10% benefit. Okay, so that's about FTA. So let's not talk about, because it's an external context. Government has not decided to give FTA, to sign an FTA with Europe. There could be many other reasons. So it is, I would say, it is not in our control. It is in the control of the government. So we can't do much about it if you have to. Only the industry point of view. So what else which is also causing our products are not competitive in the global market? The most important topic is our working efficiency. I just give you a country-wise efficiency. We call it as overall working efficiency, which means at what efficiency you're able to make a product. Suppose if a factory works under 50% efficiency, they produce 100,000 pieces. But if the same factory produces at 100 piece under the 100% efficiency, they can double their output. which means at the same cost, they would be able to double their output. So that's a explanation about overall working efficiency. It is just a picture about how the India stands in terms of global platform, in terms of overall working efficiency. This is purely into garment manufacturing. I'm talking about garment manufacturing efficiency, not linked to the fabric manufacturing. Yes, in fabric also we measure overall equipment efficiency, whereas in garment we measure overall working efficiency. So this just a picture. This is just an overall status of Indian garment industry. Of course, there are some specific suppliers or specific factories. They are really doing a good job. Their efficiency level is already at the higher level. But if you have to take the overall average for the entire country, the Indian garment textile industry. So here is the picture. It's the efficiency of if you have to take a product which takes 50 minutes to make, for example, a shirt which takes 50 minutes to make, we run at the efficiency, average efficiency. I'm talking about average efficiency, starting of the production and ending of the production. So it takes about 50 to 50% in India. Bangladesh is almost same as India efficiency, I would say. Whereas if you look at China and Vietnam, they're already at a much higher efficiency. They're already at 80 to 90% of efficiency. So you can see a big difference between India, China and Vietnam in terms of efficiency. When we move on to the high technical product, which means when you move from 50 minutes SAM product to 100 minutes SAM, when I say SAM, it takes 100 minutes to make a product. In some product, it takes 150 minutes to make a product. For example, some complicated jackets, it takes more than 150 minutes to make a product. So when the complexity of the product increases, if you look at the information for India, the efficiency starts declining because it's again linked to the complexity of the product. So average of say 150 minutes SAM product, it takes most of the factories I've seen, they work at the efficiency of 40 to 45%. I'm not again talking about the peak efficiency, I'm talking about the average efficiency. You're able to make the entire production. So when you go to China or Vietnam, they're already at 60 to 70% of efficiency. So why this efficiency is so important, how it impacts the final price of a product. So I just try to quickly explain you how efficiency impacts the cost of manufacturing. There are different components of landed price breakdown. Yes, in the cost breakdown sheet of any factory, you can see these are the different components. One is the bill of material. So what are the material you buy, for example, fabric or trims, all put together, what is the cost you spend. And the second important point in the cost breakdown is a CMT, we call it as cut, make, trim. And then the third one is a packing and shipping. And then the supplier adds the profit margin. And then the last one is the duty, which is added by the country which is importing your product. So just to explain you how the efficiency impacts, where it creates an impact in terms of this cost breakdown, impacts heavily on the CMT. It's only on the CMT part, yes. So just a simple calculation, if you have to put how you calculate the cut, make, trim, it's a SAM, how much time it takes to make a product. Say example, 50 minutes. Multiplied by, I mentioned as a PPM, which is nothing but a price per minute or a cost per minute for a factory. If a factory has to run 1 minute, what is the cost they spend? And divided by efficiency. This is a simple calculation to calculate a CMT. So I just take one example, a 50-minute product, say a normal shirt or a trouser, which takes 50 minutes for a factory to produce. And then the cost per minute of a factory, I take an example, you have to pay 2 rupees 50 paise to a factory to per 1 minute spent by the factory. So in case your efficiency is 50%, so your CMT cost comes to be around 250 rupees. Forget about all the government policies, nothing. You just, a factory decides to work, okay, I will improve my efficiency from 50 to 60%. You can imagine how much it can impact. Your cost of manufacturing comes down almost 100 rupees. You move to 156 rupees just by improving your efficiency, moving your efficiency from 50 to 80%, 30% of efficiency improvement results in such a huge cost saving. How you can achieve this improvement? Of course, it's through operational excellence. So my sincere request to everyone, and also the people from industry, let's not worry too much about the first point. What we discussed is about, okay, government is not giving this, that policy is not okay, whereas Bangladesh, Vietnam, they're able to manage because their government policy is supporting. Let's forget that, and if we start focusing only on the efficiency, you can see how much cost we can save in the manufacturing process. The third, yes, we talked about policies, we talked about efficiency, and the third important point, there are a lot of non-value-added processes existing in our manufacturing process or a service. What are those? So before we understand what are the non-value-added processes, it's important to understand what is added value. So everyone should understand who decides the particular action is added value or not is the final customer. So final customer is the one who decides if an action is value added or not. There are three conditions to respect to define, yes, I am adding value in your production processes. All your process must transform the product or a service. Whatever action you take, it must transform the product or a service. For example, you convert the fabric into garment. Yes, you transform from fabric to garment, so it is a value addition. For example, you move a fabric from say northern part of India to south part of India to manufacture garment. It is not a transformation. It's not a real transformation. It is absolutely a waste. So it is not creating any value addition for the end customer who's buying the product. The second condition it must respect is customer is willing to pay for it. Is customer really willing to pay for the product what you offer? Yes, customer, when a customer comes to a store and buy a jacket, yes, they are willing to pay for the fabric. They are willing to pay for the finish. They are willing to pay for the workmanship. But they don't want to pay for the packing. They don't want to pay for the store where you have air conditioning. So customer doesn't want to pay for all those things. Customer want to pay only for the product and which is going to add value for them. So we need to consider this aspect when we define what is value addition in our process. And the third one is it must be done correctly first time, which is also called as the right first time. In the production process, many times we redo certain things to correct the mistakes. So is customer willing to pay for correcting the mistake? Because correcting the mistake is an additional cost for the factory. For a manufacturer, is customer willing to pay for your rejection? No, absolutely not. So if you do repeatedly the same job, or if you make mistakes and if you want to correct it, it's a cost, but customer don't want to pay. It is absolutely a non-value added activity. So how you can improve the efficiency of the process? By simply eliminating all the non-value added activities in the entire value chain. So there are many tools are available to identify, okay, what is value added, what is non-value added, and you can apply those tools to identify first and then set up a clear project or a clear roadmap to eliminate all those non-value added activities step by step. Thereby, you will improve your competitiveness. Yes, the fourth one, yes, of course, you can see the example which is shown below in one of the factories. There are a lot of work in progress. So we waste quite a lot. So in lean terminology, they have already defined there are 8 different kind of waste that we commonly do it in any of the manufacturing facility or a service industry or in offices or even at home. So these are the different wastages according to the lean. One is weighting. Weighting is the biggest weight. For example, in a production line, if the process flow is not smooth enough, maybe sometime you would have observed in a production line, one operator keeps waiting because he doesn't have anything to stitch, whereas the adjacent operator may have a huge number of pieces to be stitched. So one operator tend to wait. So it is a waste because the operator is not able to add any value. Because every 1 minute operator waste, it's a cost, and it adds to the cost of the product. That customer for sure don't want to pay for it. And second biggest waste in our textile industry is a transportation. So if you see, if you have to take one example as a cotton shirt, cotton comes from Gujarat. It is transported to a ginner, either in the same state or a different state. And then after that, the fiber goes to a spinner, which is located in a different state. It is formed into yarn and then into fabric. And then the fabric is produced in a different setup. And then the fabric comes to a garment factory in south of India. You see from north, again, the fabric moves to south. So you see, if you look at the entire value chain, there are a lot of transportation involved. Of course, geographically, we have this big challenge today in India. But is customer willing to pay for this? No, absolutely no. If you have one setup, say example, you have a cotton field, and then next to the cotton field you have a ginning, and then followed by you have spinning, and then complete value chain is located at the same facility. Consider how much you can save in terms of cost, in terms of your time. You would be able to offer better lead time. Motion is another biggest waste, because when an operator works, sometime the operator has to get up, move, and they pick the product and then stitch, and then move, rotate the chair, pick up the product from different area, and then these are all the motion. Motion causes waste of time and waste of money. Defects, we already talked about it right first time, is ultimate aim, that is a value added activity. Overproduction, sometimes we end up producing more than the customer need, and then we piled up with extra stock, which is also a huge waste. Non-utilized talents. So this is also, it's purely linked to the human topic. If you have people and their talents, if it is not utilized, that is biggest waste in any factory. This is also one reason you would have seen in many factories, they would have set up an idea box to collect different ideas from different people. So this is one way that how you can utilize all the talents in the organization. Then the inventory. Inventory is another big way. So you end up procuring more raw material more than the needs, and you end up having more inventory in your factory that costs us huge money for a factory. Extra processing is another interesting area. Sometime the factory end up doing extra processing. If I have to give a specific example, I take an example of a nano car and a Ferrari. Ferrari needs 12 layers of coating on, if you have to paint the car, they need a 12 layer of color coating to get that effect. Whereas Nano, this just needs 1 layer of painting. Why not? We can go even 5 layers of painting in Nano car, but would you be able to offer the same price? No, it is not possible. So we need to understand what exactly the customer needs, and accordingly we need to process it. So extra processing is also waste. In many factories, I have also seen at the end of the production line, they do the ironing process. They basically, not all the garments needs to be ironed. Only there are some specific packaging. If you need to go for it, then it needs to be ironed and packed. Or otherwise, there are some specific cases you don't need to iron the garment, because by the time it reaches the store, it takes almost more than a month to reach. It undergoes various processes. It goes to the warehouse. It gets stuffed, and then it comes finally back to the stores. By the time it comes to the stores, it's with a lot of wrinkles already. So, do we need to really go for ironing? No, it's not necessary for those cases. So again, factory end up doing extra processing. So these are the different type of waste that we face in this current industries. Think about it. If any organization starts working on all those waste, identify all those waste, and start eliminating one by one. So it will be easy. It is the way forward for them to make their product competitive. The last point, Indus, I don't know whether you have heard about the industrial revolution started in 18th century. Indus 1.0, Indus 2.0, Indus 3.0. We are currently at Indus 4.0. So our industry, I can say we are still at Indus 2.0. Maybe I will take some time to give you explanation what is Indus 1, Indus 2, Indus 3, Indus 4. So this slide will give you about industrial revolution, which started century. Indus 1.0, it's basically that's the time when we invented the steam engine, when we invented the weaving looms. So that's the time it's called Industrial Revolution 1.0. And then Ford is the car manufacturing, automobile manufacturing company. They came up with a mass production assembly line concept, which is called Indus 2.0, where you produce in a mass production, like you produce multiple products in a continuous production line, assembly line. If you would have visited most of the garment factories today, it is in the similar concept. It's a mass production line. You have an assembly line, a very long process. You input the cut components, cut fabrics, and at the end of the line, you get the final output. It's a mass production. Indus 3.0, it's when the computers and electronics, a lot of automation started happening. For example, mobile phone, invention of computers, invention of certain automations. Even in the textile industry, garment factories, you would have seen the cutting machine is automated. There are some sewing machines are automated. So this is more or less, it talks about Industry 3.0. What is Indus 4.0? Indus 4.0 is after the automation. It talks about Internet of Things. It talks about digital factory. It talks about robotics. How we can connect all the machines and how the machines can interact with each other, and we will have one control point. And how we can automatize the entire factory or digitalize the entire factory with one control in place with a lot of data management. So this is all about Industry 4.0. So this is how the industry is evolving today. So if you look at where are we in terms of Indian garment manufacturing setup, we are more or less in Indus 2.0 and progressing a little bit move towards Indus 3.0. So we are nowhere closer to Indus 4.0. I'm not talking about any specific factory. Yes, there are some specific factories, specific suppliers have already taken initiatives to move to Indus 4.0, but overall, in general, if you have to talk about Indian textile industry, we are between Indus 2.0 and Indus 3.0. Whereas if you look at China, in the previous slides, you would have seen the cost of making in China is quite high. The labor cost is quite high, and the water resources is quite high. But still, they represent almost 30% even today because they already started moving towards Indus 4.0. So this is the solution for the Indian textile industry for the future. So and we have no other choice. And what are the key challenges for the industry towards implementing Indus 4.0? Of course, the ownership of adapting new technologies and the change management will have to be developed. So how many factories or how many organizations today are willing to invest on the right resources to accelerate this project? No, not many industries are willing to do it. And most of the time it is taken it as a short-term mindset. And of course, the top management needs to give away for new generation. Most of the time, The industry thinks only the conventional way of manufacturing. So now it's time to give an opportunity to a next generation and think about moving towards Industry 4.0. As I said, the current state is still Industry 2.0, so we need to move from 2 to 3, 3 to 4. So it is a long way forward. Of course, in terms of skill sets, we have a shortage skill sets in terms of technology when we have to compare with China. And increase in data volume, because we talked about Internet of Things, big data management, the number of data that you manage, it is going to be huge, tremendous. Therefore, adequate IT system to analyze the data is needed. So in terms of infrastructure, we are a bit lagging. In terms of IT system to support big data management. It also needs a long-term commitment, and moving towards Industry 4.0, it's a major upheaval and not a smooth change. It's not a smooth change. It needs a drastic step, a big step from the textile industries. The last one, it also needs interdisciplinary collaboration. So all the departments inside the organization, they need to collaborate together to move forward in one direction. So then only it is possible. So I would like to show one example because in the this video I got it after COVID. Example of Bangalore airport, how they have transformed. I let you watch this video. It just takes 3 minutes.
Is there any volume too for the video?
Yes. Sorry, there is a volume, there is a music behind. Are you not able to listen?
No, it's not audible.
Okay, it's okay. So the concept is most important because its background there is no voice.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
It is just a music.
Okay, no problem.
One moment.
You can play it without, yeah.
Yeah. This is basically a Bangalore airport after they reopened recently. Okay. So if you've seen this video, you can see how much it has progressed in just 3 months of time. If you have given this project to airport authority or a project manager and asked, okay, how long this project is going to take time before COVID, the answer would have been, okay, another 2 years or 3 years. This would have been an answer from the project manager. Similar answer we get it from even from our industry. Okay, how long it takes for you to move from Indus 2.0 to Indus 4.0 in your factory? They say, okay, next 5 years. But after COVID, you see they just took 2 or 3 months to transform the entire airport to contactless airport. How is it possible? Sometime, the bigger problems also creates a bigger opportunities for us. So I can say for all the industries who are facing a tough challenge today due to COVID, I would say it's a big opportunity in front of us. So it's a time for us to move from Indus 2.0 to Indus 4.0. So the last message to conclude this session, let's not depend only on the government policies, and let's not keep bugging about it. Industrial excellence is not a choice anymore if we want to stay in the race. That's all from my side.
Oh, that was wonderful, Karthikeyan. We'll take up some questions. All right, so Drishan asks us, what could be the opportunities in the textile industry for the retail professionals post-COVID-19?
Okay, so as I said, COVID-19, everyone said this will also pass through. So yes, now we are going through a tough challenge. Many companies started closing down. Many companies stopped the recruitment. Even Decathlon, I can say we stopped the recruitment, but it is not forever. It is just to manage the current situation. And many companies started removing the people. That is really worst thing to hear. But we will pass through this biggest challenge. I'm sure we will come back to the earlier state. When I finished my college, people are saying, okay, textile industry is a sunset industry. Okay, why not you chose IT because it's a sunshine industry? I don't agree with this concept. You have seen the graph what I've shown. Especially India retail market, it is going to grow exponentially because we have a huge potential. So that's what even Decathlon side also we started focusing more on Indian retail. There's a bigger opportunities. We started opening more number of stores. We are at 72. In future, you will see more than 100 or 200 stores equivalent to China. So opportunities are plenty. You don't have to worry about it. If you are in textile field, the future is bright. This is what all I can say. So only there's a time which we are undergoing currently. It is a rough patch, but we will pass through this, no doubt.
Correct. How can one ensure that the value the store offers is meeting the customer expectations?
Okay, so there are, as I said, there are many tools in place. Even in our company, we have many tools to take feedback from the customer. More than that, what we do from Decathlon point of view, if you have to answer, from the stage itself, we started involving the customers, involving the users. Customer, I would term it as a users. So once you start involving the users right from the beginning, it's very easy for an organization to understand from the beginning of manufacturing process, so which would be much more effective rather than you sell a product, you take the feedback and then go for a correction.
Okay, so for a majority of organizations, the KPIs are well established, and every year they are improved. So how do you say that your process is improved? Like you just follow the KPIs already fixed up.
So as I said, the policies, strategies of the company need to be aligned towards achieving operational excellence. So the KPI are also associated with that. So no company will set up a same KPI every year. So if you want to improve year on year continuously, as I said, it's a never-ending story. You set up a KPI, you achieve it, and then don't be satisfied. You set up another target, and you continue to achieve.
Exactly.
How we evolve.
Okay, so in this situation, if you want to ban all Chinese products, how OPEX can help Indian entrepreneurs with new startups?
I've given you the answer already in the
Yeah, they've covered that.
in the presentation. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the political thing, okay, ban Chinese or not ban Chinese. I can say post it's a great opportunity for us from to get more share. Mainly, it can also come from China. Even in India, we started focusing quite a lot on made in India. How we can push made in India. Still, we import quite a lot of fabrics and finished goods from China. No doubt. Which is mainly, it's not like we prefer to buy from China. It is basically we don't have that particular product available in India. So in order to offer a product to customer, we have no other choice. Right now, our dependency on China is still there, but we have a specific project which will accelerate more on made in India for India. Soon, our target is to reach 100% made in India for India. And how operational excellence, I've already explained in the video.
Yeah.
Efficiency is the key. Indus 4.0 is the key. So these are the areas that we need to focus.
Okay, so for the next question, I would also like Vijay sir to give his inputs. How textile industry become sustainable after COVID-19?
Thank you, Karthik. I was about to I joined late by 10 minutes.
No problem, sir.
How it is sustainable, what some of the students participants asked. Recently, there was a webinar organized by Fiber to Fashion. Many of you might have attended that question. It was a group discussion, a panel discussion where from India, Dr. Shaktivel was participated, and Bangladesh, Vietnam, Europe, and the US. There was a question after COVID-19, how India can take up the thing. Now, the main problem concerned is actually when the resources are coming or opportunities coming from other countries, is India is geared up to take up the those opportunities, which has already Karthik has answered. But one point Mr. Shaktivel has made it, actually, India has to gear up to take up the man-made fiber manufacturing and manufacturing of man-made fiber garments. He said very clearly, India is only focusing more on to summer wear in the for other countries. We are not producing all seasonal garments required for the export industry. Our major concern is only now we are more focusing on cotton garment, not into polyester based, where China and Vietnam are mastered in that. Already, Mr. Nurul also told the same thing. If already Indian manufacturers started concentrating on man-made fiber product manufacturing, which is of international standard, which to beat China and other countries, then only it will be in a position to take up the challenges in after COVID-19.
Certainly, just to add to your point, sir, even if I have to take an example in Decathlon, if I have to take an example of specifically the woven products, 100% of woven product made in 100% cotton is made in India. Any 100% cotton product. Whereas if I have to move to synthetic segment, today almost more than 50% of synthetic products are not produced in India, which are sold. We are still importing from China.
Correct.
Okay, so we have next question from anonymous attendee. In the garment industry, I would like to know what is the allocation of resources for R&D function in particular. Do you think that R&D is only a subsidiary function in the garment sector? Quick response in the system is the main focus of the industry. Okay, that's it.
Okay, I don't believe in setting up a separate R&D system. What I mentioned in the conventional organization, there used to be R&D associated with the head office. I would say the entire factory is a R&D system. That's a part of operational excellence. The ideas has to come from everyone in the organization. So everyone in the organization should be a part of research and development. coming up with new ideas and implementation.
Okay, so can Atmanirbhar, that is our PM's vision for making India self-reliant, help Indian textile industry in future? In your view?
Like, could you repeat the question again?
Can Atmanirbhar help to textile industry in future? Help.
I would say he's Prime Minister is trying to provoke the change in the mindset. As I said, the first most important step if you have to move towards your achieving operational excellence is a change of mindset. I think that is the reason why he tried to create a tagline to change the mindset of the people. I'm sure that's a starting point, but that never ends. As I said, we need to move to step number 2, step number 3. There are many more steps to work on it. Not only that tagline will help us. Tagline is a motivating factor.
Yes. What is the role of artificial intelligence to upgrade the Indian textile industry?
Indus 4.0, I have explained.
Yeah.
If you have to improve the efficiency of your production, efficiency of the process, efficiency of your communication, Indus 4.0 is a solution. Artificial intelligence is a part of it.
Okay. I'm sure this is from some student. Is there any hope for textile students to get job after COVID crisis?
Yes, don't worry. For sure, we will come across this rough patch, and I see a lot of good opportunities after COVID. Let's be very optimistic.
Will the functional finishes like antibacterial and fragrance finishes be the current need of customers?
Especially for producing masks, yes, there are a lot of companies. Antibacterial, antiviral, all those value addition. If you look at the managing the current pandemic, these are the finishes are, I would say, on the top of the list. Taking considering the sportswear into consideration, yes, all value addition plays a crucial role, no doubt. After that, as I mentioned, it depends on the customer need. You need to understand what customer wants. If you want antibacterial or antimicrobial or any kind of finish, let's not push to the customer. First, understand what exactly the customer wants, the user wants.
What are you expecting from freshers when they enter textile industry?
A fresh mind, new thoughts, new ideas. Think beyond. Think out of the box. So
yes, and I think very well Karthikeyan has taken up a lot of points which actually India has to work on. I this was very this was an eye opener. Efficiency instead of blaming government policies.
yes.
We are increasing our efficiency, work on our skill sets. Okay,
Exactly.
so has there been introduction of some new kind of product, especially due to COVID situation?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Has there been any introduction of some new kind of product?
In Decathlon?
They haven't mentioned, but you can tell in that answer.
No, we have not introduced any new product. We go ahead with the existing product, and there are some certain products also supported to manage the COVID-19. So there are no new products have been introduced because of COVID.
What will be your message to textile graduates who recently graduated, and what would they learn in these gap period? What should they learn?
My only message to all the graduates passed out of this year, don't give up. I know many companies already given offers, they would have taken it back. My only message, don't give up. Be optimistic, and there's an opportunity in front of us. And also try to explore what are the opportunities this COVID has given to us. Because many people, they're living in the world of excuse. Okay, the COVID are not started hiring, so I don't have a job. Instead of simply sitting at home, come out. There are plenty of opportunity even COVID has created. So I try to understand that maybe you can add value to those opportunities, and you can be engaged.
So will Decathlon shift to local sourcing to tackle the new challenges?
Yes, that's already a part of our project.
Okay.
We want to make 100% product made in India for Indian customers.
Okay. And what is Decathlon's target for 2020-21 value-wise? What is Decathlon's strategy to beat Corona impact?
We are already working, on this. I was just sharing it with Shweta before this VC. Many people started engaging themselves into sports and fitness after this COVID. So our main target is to make the pleasure and benefits of sports accessible to the many people. So that's the main, only one common goal for Decathlon. How we can offer the product at a very competitive price, so that people would be able to spend money for practicing sports and take the complete pleasure of practicing sports. In terms of numbers, yes, we were last year we were at 76 stores, and we plan to add 10 more stores this year. But we decided to slow down a bit. But we did not decided to stop. We just decided to slow down a bit. And we will come back very strongly. And thanks to all those people, the customers who have given a very good response during COVID and after COVID also.
So where is Decathlon? 2.0, 3.0 or 4.0?
Decathlon, I would say we are moving between 3.0 to 4.0. Even in the store, you have seen there are a lot of initiatives are being taken. Customers can walk in, they can do the billing on their own. There is one specific store located at Brigade Road. You can visit because that is called a concept store. We try to incorporate a lot of Indus 4.0 ideas into that store. One specific store. We want to take a trial, so we implemented that one store, and then we will copy across all the stores. This is a strategy from Decathlon.
Okay. Okay, now this is a specific question for you. How will the company address the issue of refitting or alterations in the garment, which is currently handled by in-house tailors?
I'm not clear with this question. Could you repeat again?
Yes. How will your company address to the issues of refitting or alterations in the garments, which was earlier being done by in-house tailors, but now that we are not having this maintaining social distancing, how do you address to these problems?
So many factories have already started operating. I would say the factories which are working for Decathlon, they're already started working. Some innovative ideas came from different factories. You know, they have made in the production line, they have made a small glass cubicle. It's a transparent cubicle where each operator can sit, and they can limit the contact. See, today, currently, the kind of pandemic which we are undergoing, of course, we are not, the factories are not focusing too much on efficiency, but their prime focus is on the safety. So first focus, even we are asking our factories also, first focus on the safety, ensure the safety is in place, then we will start driving our projects linked to the efficiency. So safety is the top priority. So the factories have already started functioning, maintaining a distance. There are some examples what I've given. They made some cubicles. They ensure that everyone walks into their temperature check, and they go for a frequent washing of hands with a sanitizer. So there are a lot of you must have seen in many companies they've already started following the safety practices.
Okay, so we'll just take up the last question, Karthik.
Yeah.
So, are there any plans for Decathlon to be working with hand-woven products?
Hand-woven product. Why not? If that product is able to support the volume.
Okay, that's good to hear. Vijay sir, if he wants to add anything.
Thank you, Karthik. First of all, I should thank Karthik for making this program a successful one and accepting our invitation on behalf of the Vogue Institute. I thank him. And it was I was going through his presentation. Now I started, Shweta may be thinking how my mind is working. Already operational excellence, how to bring it into our institute, I am thinking in this line. Because all our faculty members are working on that. Therefore, your concept is going to hit our institute. And I will brief update you how we are progressed in this.
Great. That's so nice.
And already I invited you for that. Good. Thank you, Karthik. Very informative. This
Yeah.
thing sessions.
Thank you so much, and thank you all the participants, and thank you Vogue Institute for initiating such a initiation, which is much needed for the entire industry. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karthik, for sparing your time. Your presentation was very insightful and very sorted. I mean, step by step, I think we got a very clear clarity over the export conditions and the various aspects of it. And one thing which I really liked, I'll just re-quote myself, before we blame government policies, I think we should work on what we are lacking. So thank you so much, Karthik, for sparing time. Thank you all the attendees for attending us. Do join us for next session. And Karthik, we hope we associate soon. Sir has already gave us a lot of plans.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik.
Bye-bye.